Welcome everybody to this episode of the podcast. You've found the editorial team from CarGurus in good health and happy moods. How's everyone feeling today?
Warm for the first time in a while.
Yeah, we got a note. Dave is our man from California.
And it's 42 degrees in the studio right now.
It's 58 degrees in the studio.
It's colder in here than out there.
I'm pretty sure I can see my breath, but we'll still talk about
We all
cars.
have a nice warm beverage, but only one of us is wearing two collared shirts.
Yep, this is all I had. You guys didn't warn me. Next time I fly out
You're
for these,
very
I am
monochrome.
packing all of the swag and fleece that I have from CarGurus, and I'm wearing all of it. Winter hats. I mean, I'm glad these work as like earmuffs.
Exactly.
No one knows that. This is like keeping the body heat.
Matt loves the headphones because of how
I just like to
we
hear
all
my
sound
own
like
voice.
honey. It sounds great, but Dave,
keeping me warm.
they're earmuffs.
Yeah.
You look good.
Thank you.
It's going to catch on
Better
again.
than I
You're
feel.
pulling it off.
Thanks. Oh, you guys are sweet.
It's like back in high school, we did the
sweet.
double polo shirts. I didn't.
Oh.
Did you?
Oh.
Did any of you?
Pop
I know
collars,
people who
no.
did. Pop collar.
Why
yeah.
stop at 2? 3, 4, 5.
Well, we'll see next episode. Is there a third shirt for Dave?
Just add one every time.
I got
like
that actually.
Joey and Friends when he wears all of Chandler's clothes. Yeah, that'll be me.
A couple weeks from now, he'll just be stuck like this.
I have no problem. with
So that's Dave. You've met Dave.
Hi, folks.
Let's go back to Natalie, lead staff writer. How are you doing today, Natalie?
Hello, great. Happy to
Excellent.
be here.
Awesome. I love it. Matt, last, never
Always.
least, deputy U.S. editor. Is that the correct?
Sure, why not?
U.S. deputy editor,
I've
deputy
always
editor,
liked
U.S.
the deputy part.
We've called him.
Yeah.
We've called him.
Sheriff's
You're
deputy.
under arrest.
All right.
I hope not. Welcome to the podcast, Matt.
Thank you. Great to be here.
And Elliot, your title.
Yeah,
Oh.
please introduce yourself.
I'm Elliot Haney. I'm a video producer here.
Super producer.
Super producer.
And not just video anymore.
That's
Podcast
right.
producer. Yeah. I'll tell you what, we're all feeling a little loose.
Mm-hmm.
The energy feels good.
Which is good
The vibes are feeling good.
because this topic's going to get
This is an interesting topic. So what are we talking about today?
So today's topic, we are, if you've listened to the podcast, I'm a budget-minded shopper. I love a deal. I don't want to spend too much money.
a great deal.
A great deal, which
Where
you can find
Yeah, there we go.
on CarGurus.com. Best place to find a great deal. How about that? Anyway, today we're talking about the best all-wheel drive cars for under, drumroll, $10,000. Nobody drumroll.
and
Natalie
these
was
are
about to.
cars.
I was
So
expecting
not
the
SUVs,
drum roll.
not crossovers. These are sedans
So I wasn't aware.
There's a couple hatchbacks.
and a couple
on there.
hatchbacks. Yep, sedans and hatchbacks.
I mean, it's probably
Yeah.
a taller order to get an SUV in that price range, too. right?
maybe, but this is an
Bigger tends to
interesting. I
cost
feel like
more.
this is like people commuting.
Yeah.
Inclement weather. They want something comfortable. They don't want to sit up high.
Do you need a second car that you just want to have?
Yeah,
You
but
want
you're
to
on
feel
a
good
budget.
about the winter.
Your
Yeah.
snow car.
You'd be amazed how many shoppers, how many just run-of-the-mill folks think four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive only available in crossovers.
Yeah, there's a lot of great cars you can get
True.
in.
And in fact, not only can you get an all-wheel drive car, but not all crossovers are all-wheel
Right,
drive, which
yes.
I learned when watching people at the National Rental Car Lot in North Carolina during a snowstorm.
Oh,
Ooh,
gosh.
And I said, those are all front-wheel drive.
Well, you can see it in California when you drive up into the mountains. They have chain requirements, which I grew up in the East Coast. So chains on your wheels was a weird, a new thing to me.
It's
But
such
you
a
will see
hassle.
people pulling off to the side of the road and putting snow chains on the rear wheels on a front wheel drive car
Oh,
or
my
the
God.
front wheels of a rear wheel drive car, and it's like putting a rain slicker on. It's going to make it worse.
There's no substitute
or
for
like-
education.
Yeah, BMWs, which are traditionally rear-wheel drive. You'll see them in the front, or like Dodge Challengers and Chargers, chains on the front wheels, and you're like, nope.
Well, hopefully they
Guys,
find their way to this podcast.
Yes,
we're
because
gonna
actually there is a
We could be
Charger on
saving
here.
lives right
we could
now.
be saving lives.
Saving lives, yeah.
So under $10,000 cars, not SUVs. And this is also in 2025. This wasn't written 10 years ago when
Yeah.
10K was a little more accessible.
Went
Yeah.
a little further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
This is a great list.
I'm interested to dive in here because that doesn't seem like a lot of money. So I feel like we're going to find a lot of high mileage. We're
We-
going to have to accept a little bit of mileage creep than maybe
So,
we wouldn't have
I'd like
previously.
to start because I'm going to blow the three of your minds and hopefully the people listening.
Oh, boy.
I don't know if you guys know we have this.
Oh, this is great.
CarGurus.com/discover. And this is an AI powered tool
Wow.
that allows you to ask questions. And so I have just typed in, what's the best all-wheel drive car under $10,000, right? It then gives you a list. It gives you some questions to help you refine this, right? But what I love is that when you then start shopping, it is then going to, so you click on, we click on that. It is going to track the conversation with a URL. So if we are shopping with a partner or a spouse and you're shopping not at the same time, asynchronously, if you're like, all right, I've got a couple of minutes of work, I found some cars, and then you can pass on the URL to your partner or spouse, and then they can sort of take that shopping experience from there and continue on themselves. Such a cool tool.
That is really
because like
handy.
co-shopping is, you know, if you're trying to buy a car or if you have family or kids, it's so hard to sit down with the two of you and like, what about this car? What about this car before you're going to a dealer? I love this tool.
And you can use the AI function to continuously whittle it down. So if you start with, you know, just all-wheel drive under 10K. Maybe you say, show me Volkswagens and Subarus or no Subarus.
I just typed in no Subarus. I like Subarus. I've owned them, but I just, what if you wanted to weed out a brand?
You want to see some variety.
You can say, all right, you can, you know, remove that. And then, you can.
It's like having a personal shopper.
It's pretty cool.
It's
so cargurus.com/discover can, So anyway, just quick plug on
Dave
that.
is a content marketer. He's a product marketer.
Yep.
He's a fashion icon.
Yep.
You know what?
Where does it end with you,
also,
Dave?
he can't feel his fingers. So
Well, you typed well.
yeah, thank you.
It's always easy to sell a good product. You know?
Yeah, I didn't do the work. I mean, our product team and engineering team put this together. This is super cool. They're
That's
going to be
fantastic.
refining it. A lot of upside there.
Wow, look at this. That's cross-departmental synergy. Thank
That's
you.
a lot of buzzwords there.
Yeah,
So let's start with the cars on the list.
Let's start. I'm going to run down the cars on the list.
Let's keep a straight face here too, because it's
Matt, what was the word you used to describe how this list?
to me some of this. I mean, there's justification for everything on here,
Yeah.
and I love how creative the author Craig Fitzgerald, one of the best we've got. Very creative choices. It feels at times deranged.
I forgot if it was unhinged or deranged.
I said
like
unhinged.
Okay. So you
Both have been tossed around.
All right, so tell us why. Let's talk about the.
Let me read through the
run
list
through
and
those
then Matt, tell me why it's unhinged
Yeah.
or deranged. I forget which one you said.
Same.
Deranged.
First, again, no particular. It is particular order. It's alphabetical. It's not ranked. Okay. First, Acura RL, Audi A4 Quattro, Dodge Charger SXT, Ford Taurus Limited, Infiniti M35X, Mercedes-Benz C300, Subaru Impreza 5-door. There's our first Subaru. Our second Subaru, the Legacy, and the Volvo S80. So that's the list.
Matt, tell us why this is deranged.
Okay, so
Unhinged.
I mean, there are a few on here. Audi A4 Quattro. Could have expected it. You know, they've been making them forever. Quattro, very well known.
Especially
all-wheel
in
drive
this like
system.
north in this part of the country
Tons
and in
of them.
Boston area. My gosh,
Two
they're everywhere.
Subarus.
Love it.
Nobody's batting an eye at two Subarus on the list. Stuff like the Acura RL.
I love that it's on there.
I'm pretty sure like 14 people bought the Acura RL.
That is a highly underrated car. I love that it's on there.
It's great. It has super handling all-wheel drive. Acura's all-wheel drive system is really good. Not only is it splitting power front rear, but it can go side to side.
Wow, look at this.
Which is a big deal. That's a sophisticated system.
It's a very sophisticated system and so comfortable.
So this is the one he's mentioning here. What model years are we looking at? We're looking at 2010, 2008, 2011. I love that these are on here. These are comfortable, reliable. You know, I feel Elliot when he's talking about you're on a budget. I'm on like a reliability budget. So like this is comfortable, reliable. You're going to get leather seats, but probably heated. Hopefully the heaters still work.
At that era, they're nice leather seats.
Yeah, they're nice
too.
leather seats.
They're real leather?
It's a decent looking car, right? And it's going to be comfortable if you're looking for a commuter car. If you're looking for, you know, an inexpensive car for a teenager in the house, these are safe. To me, this is like, that's ticking all the boxes.
It's
I love
got
that
more
that's there.
comfort features than something else from that same year would, for sure, by being a luxury vehicle.
It's high end. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
So-
what it is? It's a car for the folks who know.
Oh, for those in the know.
Yeah.
So I entered the auto industry a little bit later than all of you. I think the RL is not one I'm super familiar with.
Yeah,
Well, they've changed their whole lineup.
14 people bought this.
So I'm one of the people who is this is no longer made. I don't recognize the model.
Right.
When did it stop being made?
Oh gosh, I don't
Early-
know. I mean, Acura
mid-tens?
kind of got,
hard questions.
yeah, boy.
I
Their
asked the hard
large sedans just sort of withered on the vine. They were never
2012.
2012.
super competitive. But then they changed the name. What was the?
Yeah, I was
the
gonna-
larger-
it-
It
Did
came from Legend,
no,
and
but
then
after that,
RLX.
RLX.
So
That's
did
right.
it morph to something else?
The RLX.
RLX.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So there, I mean, it still has its version available today. I think,
But you would say the RLX probably not available under 10K.
not even a little bit.
Yeah, it's just like the,
No,
the
the RL
newer you get, the more miles you're going to have to
Oh, that's
drive
how that
with.
works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, our article here, I'm seeing, we have these things called listing shelves under the description of each vehicle, then shows, you know, based on where you live, vehicles at that price point of that model that are available. So this is probably still for me. It's me in California. $9,000. You can get a 2008 Acura RL. $9,000 is 114,000 miles. So that's a lot of miles.
Yep.
But for $9,000, again, these are Acuras. These are reliable, well-built vehicles. And then when you do need repair costs, it's going to be lower than something German.
Yep. Yeah, there's
$9,000.
There's
man.
a
That's
Volvo
great.
S80 on here, and I'm a big fan. But that's one where you look at it and you're like, well, it's a very well built, reliable car. But when it does go,
it's going to cost you.
Have a good time.
Yeah, it's going to cost
The
you.
people who work on those are going to charge you.
Yeah.
So Acura is a make that you feel more comfortable with a much higher mileage number.
That's Honda's luxury brand.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is basically an Accord.
A really nice one.
Nicer.
Yeah.
Yes, with all-wheel drive. It's a
and you buy an
I'm a big
Accord with
fan.
100,000 miles, they tell you it's just getting broken in.
Right. You
There
just
was
keep
the
up- keep
million
up the
mile
maintenance.
Accord before a lot of other million mile things made headlines.
Yep.
Yeah. Just do your maintenance and that car's going to last forever. Wow. So that I love that it starts
Guaranteed.
this list.
That's
starts
the
with that.
Dave Underkoffler guarantee.
Call me and I'll come over and I'll fix
it. If it doesn't last forever.
Call me.
So to look at the East Coast analysis, I see one on my listing shelf. It's a 2005 Acura SL, $7,000.
RL.
Sorry, SH all-wheel drive,
There you
super
go.
handling all-wheel drive.
Yep.
The RL,
Shroud.
181,000 miles. Would you feel comfortable
That's
with
a little
180K?
Because you can
price
get other ones.
analysis.
Because you can get, for the same price, you can find a lower mileage
Sure.
version. I would go with the lower mileage version. I don't know. There's no reason. That actually seems overpriced to me.
Really? $7,000.
Especially because this one has
20
3
years old.
accidents reported.
Oh,
Well, that's
click
why there's
through.
no price analysis.
that one would not be marked a
Because
great deal.
the one I'm looking at, $9,000, 114,000 miles. Let's see. Let's check the clean title. 1 accident, but no damage reported. 6 previous owners. It's a lot of owners.
That's
but,
a lot of owners.
You know, at this
It's been
age,
through some
cars are
stuff.
starting. Yeah, you know, it's got some stories, but
it feels like
it's a California
sweet
car.
spot
Looks
here.
clean.
You're looking like 2008 to 2011, probably 100 to 120,000 miles. You know, 8, 9, 10,000 bucks.
Great.
So
Just
anyway,
still
who else?
great
Who else has
price.
a car they like on this list? Natalie, what do you like, or what don't you like? What's like get out of that list?
Also within play is what isn't on this list that
Sure.
you would
Oh,
add.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, true.
That's also fine.
True. I did do a search. You can search by powertrain. You can search by price, narrow it down by both. And so I did a little nationwide search.
Oh, you did that on
and
CarGurus.com?
I did on
Wow.
CarGurus.com.
What a site.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gold mine.
Great filters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
A lot of them.
absolutely. And functional. They actually do just get rid of everything you're not looking for. I'm seeing some BMWs in here, which I'm always a fan of.
yeah, you do like your BMWs.
Here's a 2014 Cadillac XTS Luxury.
Oh wow! For when an Acura RL is not big enough,
Yeah.
go look at that thing.
$8,000, right?
This is
How many miles are on that thing?
Where's the mile? 160,000. I mean,
That's
that's
getting up
But
there,
it's
that's
probably
especially
the
for being
most-
only 10 years old.
and that's the V6, so it's not a V8. But like, they put that engine in like a billion cars, so parts and repairs shouldn't be that bad.
This
and
is
like,
one of those things. If I saw it parked on the street, I'd look twice. I'd be like, "Ooh,
yeah, as like a car
there's one of
person, because it's
those.
all-wheel
Double
drive, and man, is that going to be a comfortable commuter.
It's the most cost-effective way to drive your couch in the snow. Yeah.
Well,
true.
the Taurus might be the most effective way.
Yeah, but Cadillac would be so much more comfortable. Yeah,
Taurus has
that's
a
interesting. Good
So
call.
the,
All right.
the Taurus is on this list, as is the Dodge Charger. And
But make sure, for our shoppers, make sure they're looking at all-wheel drive
Yes,
versions.
that's right,
Because
'cause
these are not standard all-wheel drive
both
cars.
vehicles were available with, I think the Taurus was front-wheel drive.
That era.
And then the Charger was a rear-wheel drive platform. Both vehicles often used in police fleets.
True.
So
Dependable.
But
when
but police fleets, I don't know if they would have done an all-wheel
that's a
drive.
good point.
They would have done probably just.
That would be like the Mountie police. The Canadian police would need the all-wheel
Oh, yeah.
drive ones.
Don't you know? Yeah.
I had a rental Taurus one year when I still lived in like Boston. So it was hard. It was that year we had all the horrible snowstorms.
They're big cars.
Had a long term, and it was great because I could just drive over all the snowbanks and stuff. It was. I mean,
like
my
that.
Mini was in the shop for like a month,
What a difference.
and yeah, this
And
was great.
You could we're specifying the limited on here. Probably a little better value for money, but they sold the show
The show
with all-wheel drive.
That's what my long term
Oh,
rental
the
was.
SHO. Oh,
Yeah.
That was all-wheel drive?
Yeah.
Okay,
Actually,
that's cool.
my husband and I worked together but weren't dating yet, and that car got his attention.
It's
He was
I
like,
like this
the
girl.
Taurus
Yeah.
show.
365 horsepower, 3.5-liter V6, all-wheel drive. This one's got 118,000 miles on it.
This is an SHO?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this the
$2010,
$8,000 one?
$8 grand. It's up in Londonderry, New Hampshire,
Yeah.
and
That's such a New Hampshire car.
So it's used to
very New
snow.
Hampshire.
It's seen a lot of snow.
One accident, 4 previous owners, but again, 2010. I mean,
How many miles?
about 117,000.
For $8 grand?
Yeah,
That's a lot of car for
It's
the money.
A lot of
literally-
car.
It's
Like a big-
like just based on weight, it's a lot of car. Like if you're selling in bulk,
Right.
this is the vehicle.
I like
Leather
that.
seats, basically 2 couches.
2 couches.
Yeah.
I'm going to go down with the Subaru. Now, my
Sure.
first car out of college was a 98 Subaru Legacy GT,
Oh,
which really was just a trim package, but all-wheel drive. And I was living in Boston at the time. I know I'm the Californian here, but living in Boston, and they had an epic snowstorm, and this was in like 04.
Uh-huh.
It was like the row of street, you know, the row down the street of just cars that had been plowed over, right? So it's just, you can't tell which car is yours. I think I brushed off the key lock, got in, warmed up the car, and just drove
went.
out.
Drove right out.
And I had bad, old, worn out tires. And like Subarus are just so good in snow. So it's like on this list, if you're going to have a cookie, if you want all-wheel drive, a Subaru is a great place. And the Legacy, so that's their sedan. I think it's underappreciated. You talk about no one bought the Acura RL. Here's a 2014 Subaru Legacy all-wheel drive. It's a good-looking car, like 10 grand, like $9,800. This is in California. 2014. It has 90,000 miles. Ready to go. Clean title, no
2014
accidents, one owner.
A
And it's like
2014
good-looking.
Subaru Legacy in Southern California.
I know. We let one in.
Yeah,
We let one in.
true diamond
Yeah.
in the rough.
But it's like a good look at those cars. I mean, it's got like the, you know, this has like the nicer rims and like, you know, what is that, a blue or a black? Let's see. That's blue,
This
dark
is
blue, tan interior.
base
Like, that's a
trim.
nice car.
It's base
I like a
trim.
blue over
But like
tan.
good wheels, like
Blue
good
over
rims,
beige.
right? It doesn't look base trim. You got the fog lights. That's a lot of car for like 90,000 miles. That will last you a long time we're still under 10 grand.
I'm looking at one. It's a 2019 with 162,000 miles.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
lots of miles, but it's $1 under 10 grand.
Yeah.
Up in New Hampshire.
Okay.
So Subaru, we all know Subaru. We've talked about Subaru a lot. Subaru is well known for almost all of their models have all-wheel drive standard.
Mhm.
Are there other makes that also do that to the same level Subaru does? Like, is there another brand?
I mean, Audi comes to mind. Not
Audi,
all.
yeah,
no,
but-
not everything is Quattro, but many of theirs are. And we have an Audi Q4 on this list.
Sure.
Yep.
Now that's where it's like, look, I get the appeal of an Audi. I see some for my listing here. An all-wheel drive, it's about a little over $10,000, 107,000 miles. It's a 2015 Audi A4 with Quattro. If you're looking for like a luxury car, that's like pretty compelling. Now, reliability may not be on par with an Acura.
You're
or
going
a
to
Subaru.
get to know your mechanic.
Your repair costs, then not only the reliability, but it's going to cost more for parts and repairs. But if for someone who's willing to take that on, you're getting a pretty good looking,
and they
somewhat late model
and
luxury
they drive
car.
well.
They drive great.
Yeah.
And,
Like-
the Quattro is pretty impressive. So,
The-
you know,
The
just go into it
difference-
with your eyes open, maybe get a warranty.
the
right?
difference in terms of just driving dynamics between the Legacy
Mhm.
and the Audi
Night
is
and day.
notable.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So like,
Yeah.
yeah,
night and day.
you're either paying in cash or you're paying in risk, essentially. The Audi, you're paying a little more in risk, but you're getting
you're getting a
something
lot.
for it.
That's
Yeah.
a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like that does not look like a $10,000 car. You
No.
pull up to the
True.
curb.
It
like,
also-
someone's like, damn, he's driving a 10-year-old Audi.
Yeah,
That's pretty
it
cool.
doesn't look like a 10-year-old
It does
car
not.
either.
Definitely not.
They really
And
haven't
some-
changed much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, some of that goes just to Audi's design language, and they don't really dramatically update things.
But it was always a tasteful design at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good looking car.
So speaking of other German cars that look more expensive than maybe they are, there's a Mercedes on this list.
Yeah.
It's one I might not expect to see a Mercedes on a list of under $10,000. Is what is this? The C-Class. And we're specifically calling out the C300.
300.
It's got to have 4MATIC. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to have 4MATIC. So Natalie, you've owned or do own a Mercedes, an older,
Yes.
right? So I think of you at this table as the Mercedes expert.
Yeah,
Through
for
the
those who don't
magic
know,
of
Natalie owns,
depreciation.
a baker's dozen of cars. So chances are, whatever model you're talking about, Natalie owns or has owned.
Something related anyway. I have a 2000 SL 500. So very different.
Very different.
Yeah.
Well, let's pretend you are the Mercedes-Benz expert. Talk to me about the C-Class.
Oh gosh.
Or let me go back to your SL. Like, have you had to do repairs to it, and what is that experience?
Ooh, no, not too much. Or
Okay.
we've kind of been able to do most of what it needs. I mean, the big thing for that is the roof. The hydraulics go.
Yes.
So
And the wiring harness, right? Isn't
yeah.
it like the
So that's going to
biodegradable-
be something that we're going to need to get dealt with.
Biodegradable wiring.
There was like an
harness.
era of Mercedes that had the wiring harness, and like that is not a cheap fix. So if you go and like bring a trailer, there's like eras where it's the hydraulic cylinders on the convertibles, and it's the wiring harness. Those have to have been fixed, or you're going to have to do it yourself. Anyway,
We're going to have to do that.
yeah, okay.
And get the key replaced, which we have to, we
Sounds
only have
horrible.
one.
Yes,
You have to mail it to somebody
heard
like in
about that era.
California, which
Yeah,
is
that's me.
terrifying.
Yeah.
So
California.
maybe I'll drive it there. I don't know.
It's
Put
a
an
whole
air
plot
tag
point
on
and
it.
gone in 60 seconds.
Hey,
yeah, that's right. The keys.
Yeah, the
Future
keys.
topic.
Yeah, I like
Car
that.
movies. That's
There we go.
that's a classic one. I
Ooh.
love
Sign
that.
me up.
I'm gonna put that in my notes app.
So I don't know what you guys are seeing for the Northeast, but in California, a 2011 Mercedes-Benz C-Class 300 4MATIC, $7,500. It has 98,000 miles. So you're hitting an era where it's going to need maintenance.
Yeah.
But you have 75. So if your budget was 10 grand, you have $2,500 sort of sitting in the queue for maintenance.
Yeah.
That's a it's not as modern as maybe the Audi, but that's a solid.
I
Well,
think
if you want luxury,
the
if you like the brand,
And you can say you own a Benz.
Yeah.
low
I mean,
mileage
they're-
winner over here.
do
I've
you
got
got?
one for under 70,000 miles,
ooh,
$8,900, 2009, so a couple years older than when you found. But
yeah.
talk about also good-looking,
Yeah.
well-styled
Classy.
cars. It's the type of thing like you buy that, no one on the block thinks that you spent 10 grand.
not at all. They think you
Yeah.
spent double
Yeah.
that easily.
Yeah.
And this
for
is a one
65,000
owner.
miles, yeah, that's a low. Yeah, that's a cool.
I've
that's
got a
good
1 year
package.
newer, a 2010, 65,000 miles, 9,800.
Okay,
Ooh.
there you go. He's still under budget, and that's a lot of luxury car, a lot of comfort.
A lot of these cars up in New Hampshire.
And I love
What's
that we can
happening
get
up
a
there?
picture of their history just at a very quick glance of like how
Yes.
many owners has it had.
Yes,
and
that
how
gives you
many-
peace of mind. Of like, I
Yeah.
think that's what like any of us who have bought a used car, you're like, I don't want to be buying a bag of problems. I want to
Right.
know as
Yeah.
much about this car as possible, and to be able to go on here and just be like, clean title, no accidents, 2 owners. Boom.
Whereas
That's
this
like
2014, I clicked through to 4 previous owners. I'm like, why are people unloading that thing so
that
frequently?
always is like a right.
Maybe I don't want to be the brief 5, but
Do you know how many previous owners your SL had?
yes, 1.
One.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's
There
always
we
a,
go.
yeah. I have an '88 4Runner that I've restored. It was basically one owner.
Amazing. Maybe we
For
should
30 years, and then I
probably
bought
at some point we should count up the number of owners our vehicles have had. I
Mm.
mean, Natalie's going to win this one. Do we think we're double digits?
Wait, is winning having more?
Yeah. Biggest number wins.
I'm going to lose because I don't know the answer to that.
Actually, I
For
don't
most of
know. I
mine.
feel like most of mine have not changed hands that much. But
And then we have the Infiniti.
Oh, can I? May I?
Yeah, please,
Please.
take
All
it
right.
away.
Of all of the unhinged choices, this is the one where I see this and I'm like,
Wait, why is it
well,
unhinged?
it
Talk to
just
me.
it forces you to pause and say, well, no, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
So first off, we're specifying the M35, which
X.
is the 3.5 liter. So they did sell I think it was the M48, which was a 4.8 liter. So I just like to
Okay.
call out
Wow,
that Infiniti
4.8.
in 2010-ish was still putting some logic behind their naming convention. 35, 3.5 liter engine, 48, 4.8 liter engine. But also great looking car. That 3.5 liter V6, maybe it's not the most exciting power plant ever made, but I'm pretty sure it's been in every Nissan/Infiniti model since Fred Flintstone was
which is
driving
a
around
good
with
thing.
his
If
feet.
people are wondering,
Yeah.
so
So
parts
Pedaling
and
around.
familiarity. Yeah,
they've likely ironed out a lot of the issues. And if you buy a basket case, you probably replace the whole engine. There's 6 of them on your street.
So are you seeing, because in California, where my search is based, I'm seeing none of the X, which is the all-wheel drive version.
So
I have to
we've got
broaden
more.
my search
We've got
radius.
more of them here.
All right, what do you got?
So we have a
I'm
few.
looking at 3 right now. There's a 2006, admittedly a bit older than I think I'd want to go, but it only has 75,000 miles and it's $8,000.
yeah, I mean,
2010, 130,000 miles, $8,000. 2009, 116,000 miles. That's $7,000. So I feel like you're getting a luxury car. You're getting all-wheel drive. You're getting a proven engine. And you're getting a little more value than you get out of the Audi and the Mercedes for sure. Now, the challenge is like, you have to live in the right place because, to your point,
there's
Dave,
no all-wheel drive in California.
In Southern California,
which is a shame because that is a pretty cool car.
Yeah.
Well, cancel your flight. Take one of these back.
Yeah.
Well,
there you go.
The other
Can I
thing,
expense a car?
the Infiniti M, like the 3.5 liter, like it's probably based on like the Altima or the Maxima or something. G37.
Oh.
It's a rear-wheel drive sports car platform that has been fitted with all-wheel drive.
This car is. You're saying? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's going to drive. It'll be.
That's what we
fun to
call
drive.
pedigree.
There you go.
I did not have that info at my fingertips, but that's a really good point.
The tea was slow this morning.
No one mentioned the Volvo.
Talk to us about the Volvo.
I like it. That's where it's reliability. It's like, ooh, just go into it with your eyes open.
I think it looks awesome, though. Those are so sort of
cool,
muscular looking.
That was a cool design era for Volvos. So this is like, what, 2007 to 2013 I'm seeing listings?
I mean, the S60 and S90 still look a lot like this.
Yeah.
And every time I see one, I'm like, I would buy that.
So like we talked about, you're either paying in cash or you're paying in risk. Feels like you're paying in risk with this, but
a little more.
To your eyes, what's the risk getting you? Just style.
Yeah, panache.
Yeah.
Build quality. I mean, these cars are well built.
When you see someone driving an older Volvo, aren't you just like, oh, they've got their life together.
They know what they're doing.
Well, I'm usually just like, hey, professor. Like,
oh, funny. Sometimes I'm like, that might be a fellow car person. Like, should I try to make eye contact at this light?
Yeah.
Can they see my Lars Anderson sticker?
There's a pregnant woman making eyes
a
at
little
me.
R badge on the back.
Why is that woman staring at me?
It's because of the Volvo.
Lady. Yeah, you're like, it's the car, I swear. Yeah, no, I mean, it just, I think it's a bigger, like you said, you are paying a little more in risk. I mean, here, in California, $9,000 for a 2013 S80 all-wheel drive with, where's the mileage? What do we got? 98,000. So again, you're going to it with your eyes open.
How
Maybe
much
get
of
that
this
warranty?
Risk with luxury cars, though, or like reliability, is that they're sort of like they're over-engineered and that just takes more to keep up on? Or
yeah, so I mean the advice that I have always heard, and totally anecdotal, but essentially it's like a luxury car, an over-engineered car like that, it requires a certain level of maintenance and care. And if you stay on top of that,
right,
you have a vehicle that's well built and will last a long time. The problem is that, I have a 1-year-old and and the last thing on my mind is the 30,000 mile checkup that I need to take the Subaru for.
Well, that's also why it's nice to see fewer owners. Is that like if a car has been owned by one person or two people in the past 20 years, it is more likely, not guaranteed, more likely that person has then invested the proper money at the proper moments. So it's been, and conversely, if you see a car that's had 5 or 6 owners, the likelihood that all 6 of those people have done the proper maintenance is much lower.
Very true. You want to get those.
Great point.
You want to get those people who are like, I like took care of the car. I bought it new. It's been my thing. I've got all the, 1 or 2 owners.
When people talk about like granny cars, like that's the
it's the holy grail.
Yeah.
So I think the last car that we have yet to expressly feature is the Impreza, which we talked about the Legacy. Probably not that much different, but the Impreza,
I'd push back. I'd say it's quite different. I'd say cheaper, not in a good way.
Yeah.
But it means you're going to get lower mileage,
newer
or cheaper car. I mean, here's one in California. It's a 2014 Impreza hatchback, $6,600, 147,000 miles. But like, again, if you're looking for a pretty reliable, safe all-wheel drive car for your kid or for you, $6,600. Like, cheap cars are harder to find these days, right? With sort of all prices going goofy everywhere. That's a good cheap car.
Yeah, we did that episode recently with me. I need to buy a second car. No updates yet, but maybe an older, my line was 20. Maybe my line should be 10, and I'm looking at older Imprezas.
Then what are you going to do with the other $10,000?
Pay for the
repairs and
feed
pay
his
for daycare and
children.
All the other stuff that I have to pay for.
Get 2. Or have more kids. Kids are cheap.
Well, then, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We're to the point. Do we each want to pick one that we're taking home?
Yeah, I like that. Let's do that.
From this list?
Stay on this list.
Can I say too, I mean, yes, a little unhinged, but also thought leadership here in this
for
article
sure.
from CarGurus. Like, to
It's a
Matt's
fine line,
point,
yeah.
some of it is just, oh yeah, once I think about
That does make
Yeah,
sense.
no, the RL I don't think
Ah.
would have jumped on my list, and I'm glad it's there. It's a great choice.
Yeah, big thank you to Craig Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's send him this podcast. He'll like this one.
Yeah.
So I want to, Natalie, what are
Do
you
we
going
have
with?
an
I want to know
applause
what
button?
your
Oh, we do have an applause
applause.
button.
Our one,
Yeah, Craig.
Craig.
You're doing it, Craig.
our one sound effect.
One sound effect per episode.
love it.
I think
What's your choice?
I'm going Acura. I mean,
Yeah.
my first car was an Acura Legend. This is the evolution of it. I loved that car. I wish I still had it. So yeah, going back.
I think I'm gonna steal yours or just ride in your coattails. Yeah, me too. I mean, it's reliable. It is super comfortable. It's all-wheel drive. It's big. I mean, your ownership costs are not going to be as high as some of the other stuff on this list, and you can get good deals on them. It may not have like the street side panache of a more modern Audi A4, but I'm okay with that. Personally, I think that's a great choice.
And people in the know will know.
Yes, people in the know will know when people are staring at you at stoplights.
And aren't they the people who matter?
That's right. That's right.
I'm going with the Volvo.
Going with the Volvo.
Yeah,
Look at
because
you, New England.
people in the know will know for the complete opposite reason.
Mechanics
they will
in the
look
know
at me
will
and they
know.
will say, that man is the most courageous consumer I have ever seen.
Or they'll say old
There goes
money.
my hero. Like that
Yeah,
song.
yeah, exactly.
That guy, he has elbow patches on his sweater right
I've
now.
always liked Volvos. I think
It's the,
I don't wanna say-
you've called it quiet luxury before.
it is. I feel like it. I honestly think they might be the best looking vehicles on the market.
Wow.
Just brand
Bold claim.
entirely. It's everything they
disagree.
make
Yeah,
it looks
I mean,
really good.
It's such
They're
a New
elegant.
England way
It's
to
very-
approach luxury.
very-
I'm just like way
yes.
understated. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
It's like
But you're okay with like
you don't need to know how much money I have.
Right. It could be
it's enough.
Yeah. It could be a whole lot, but it's New England, so I'm never going to let you know. Let me ask you this. So you're comfortable with maybe the reliability delta between a Volvo of that era and
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I'm looking at them 112,000 miles for $8,000 on a 2015. I'm under no illusions that it's going to be problem free, but that gives me a $2,000 buffer
Sure.
for a couple, a half of a repair.
right.
And sometimes the juice is worth the squeeze,
All
man.
right. I hear you.
All right, my choice. So here's the thing. I feel a little, nobody's bullying me. But
Well, not yet. I'm going to start.
you've all chosen luxury vehicles.
Okay.
So my initial choice was going to be the practical Impreza.
I knew,
because-
We need a
it.
different
I know.
perspective.
I opened this page. I was
That's
like,
fair.
it's
I know, because I would rather get a newer car with less miles
Totally respect
for the
that.
same amount of money.
For
just 'cause
sure.
I'm so repair adverse.
100%
Averse.
respect that.
Well, you like tech features too, right?
I like a newer.
Yeah.
I gotta have my Apple CarPlay.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, nothing. This to be clear, nothing
Yeah,
on this
probably
list
not.
is going to have CarPlay. But
So realistically, if I'm buying a car, it's probably gonna be the Impreza. But
Okay.
like
okay.
the idea of a
I get it.
Mercedes that I could actually own and like,
Oh, that's where people get themselves in trouble.
I know.
Yeah.
Is they
And
make
that's
that
why-
of like, oh, I could I own a Mercedes, and then they
that's,
do.
That's why real Elliot wouldn't
and
be
then it
doing
needs
this.
to be
But
repaired.
podcast panel Elliot, I'm definitely getting a Mercedes. I'm getting
Wow,
the Benz.
Fancy guy over here. All right.
I would just like to point out the person at the table who said to herself, I could own a Mercedes, and she does.
Yeah.
Any of you
Living
could.
proof. I have one final question, and we're kind of going back. All-wheel drive. So in New England, everybody has all-wheel drive because we think we need it. I've learned in this industry from certain people at this table, it's better to have a good pair of tires on a two-wheel drive sometimes than an all-wheel drive car with maybe the wrong tires. Is all-wheel drive utterly necessary as some people think it is?
It's it's super dependent, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's almost like
Is it
the
a driver skill
The answer
issue?
to your question
It's not a
is to
cure-all.
get good tires
Yeah.
and all-wheel drive.
Okay,
Like
that's the ultimate.
That's the answer.
But also, like, don't stress if you have a front-wheel drive car. You don't need to run out and buy an all-wheel drive car. Just get good snow tires, and
Yeah.
you will achieve largely what you're trying to do.
I think
Okay.
I would feel more confident with good tires,
Yes.
like real dedicated snow tires
Yes.
and front-wheel drive than
Yes.
I would with all-wheel drive and bald
Oh,
tires.
gosh.
all season.
Okay.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. No, tires have. I mean, as someone who grew up in the East Coast or the Northeast, my family is all in Vermont. 2 Christmases ago, we were like in a ice storm basically, And we had two choices to drive home late at night. And one was a front wheel drive minivan with like my brother-in-law's an engineer, like the best snow tires, Huckapolitas, just like, studded within an inch of their like the best snow tires. Or I think it was my dad's or my parents' Subaru, but the tires were not studded. I don't even think they hadn't, this was like an early storm.
Yeah.
And we went home in the minivan because the tires were going to, that grip that the studs were going to provide for braking, right? It's not just traction. You want to be able to slow down. All-wheel drive does nothing for you when you're trying to slow down on ice.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a difference. Studded snow tires will make a difference in that. So it was like, that's what we took home that night with our whole family in a driving
We should
storm.
just do an episode where we just talk about driving in the snow. Just like our horror stories.
We all have
drama.
them. Yeah. Let us know if you're listening. You probably have stories too, right? We want to hear them.
Yeah, it's going to my note app.
Yeah.
That's for another day. So yeah, like I normally say at the end of these, you can find YouTube reviews of most of these. This one, maybe not so much. Because a lot of these exist before our YouTube channel started. But
a heck of a lot of listings for everything.
You can find a heck of a lot of listings. So this one is more of a CarGurus.com call to action.
Or CarGurus.com/discover.
/discover.
Co-shop with or if you're by yourself too. Great way to use AI to sort of help narrow stuff down.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that to us.
Yeah, I love it. It's a cool
You blew my mind.
It's brand new. It's so cool rolling out.
Cutting edge tech here.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening. Go to CarGurus.com, find the best deal, and come back next week. We'll be here for you. Thank you.
Folks.